Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Again, depending on what part of the world you're in. I'm Anthony Daniels, and I'm coming to you from Conway, South Carolina. And today we're coming to you out of the book of the First Chronicles, 11th chapter, 19th verse. First Chronicles 11 and 19. And it reads, God forbid that I should do this, he said. Should I drink the blood of these men who went at the risk of their lives? Because they risked their lives to bring it back, David would not drink it. Such were the exploits of the three mighty men. Again, God forbid that I should do this, he said. Should I drink the blood of these men who went at the risk of their lives? Because they risked their lives to bring it back, David would not drink it. Such were the exploits of the three mighty men. Now, this is one of the stories of King David, and here David is recalling a time when he was in hiding from the Philistines, and he asked for a drink from the well outside of Bethlehem. And these three mighty men broke through the Philistine lines, went to the water outside the gate of Bethlehem, and drew water for King David. And they brought that water back to King David for him to drink. And it was his words, should I drink the blood of these men who went at the risk of their lives? So they risked their lives for King David to bring him just a drink of water. Now this is, this story is about King David. Okay, and David had been chosen as a young lad to be the king of Israel by God. He was appointed king by God, and he actually worked for King Saul for a while. Okay, and then Saul was trying to kill King David before he was king because he was not jealous of all that David was doing. But what this verse tells us is that when God gives you a mission, when God appoints you to a position, when God is preparing you for things, he will surround you with people that you need to do your task. In this case, David was in hiding, and David was not the king of Israel yet, and he was being hunted down by the king of Israel at the time, who was King Saul, who was no longer following God. He'd kind of given up on God. He was doing his own thing, and he'd fallen away from God. That's why God had chosen David to be the next king, and not Saul's line. But the thing is, what we got to take from this is, if God gives us something to do, if God gives us a task, that God is going to give us the resources that we need to get that task done. In this case, David needed mighty men around him, one, to protect him. Okay, to protect him. They were put around him to protect him, to keep him safe, to keep him out of harm's way. They were also there to provide him the basis of his army, of his security, once he became the king of David, so that he could be the king and not worry about security of Israel. That those things would be taken care of by these mighty men. It just wasn't these three. These three got him the water. But there was about 30 men that surrounded David, that became his commander-in-chief and formed the basis of his army as he went out and won the territory back, defeated all of the enemies of Israel, and brought peace back to the kingdom of Israel. So when you read this verse, we need to understand that when we've been called by God, when we've been given a task by God, when we've been given a mission by God, if it's sanctioned by God, God will give us the resources that we need to accomplish that task. God will give us the resources we need to do whatever he's called us to do. And that he will never put us in a position where we cannot accomplish what he's called us to accomplish. And we can also rely on the fact that God is going to be with us through thick and thin. Now, when David went through what he was going through, it wasn't always, an easy walk. He was hiding in caves, he was running, but he had these men with him, but he was still hiding. He had a king who had his whole nation at his disposal, who was chasing him and trying to kill him. So when we're going through trials and tribulations, we have to realize that if we are doing God's will, if we're doing what God has called us to do, that regardless of the situation that we're currently in, God is already providing the personnel, the equipment, the resources that we need to accomplish this mission. So we just need to go on in faith like David did and continue to do the right thing and continue to live for Christ so that we can fulfill his will for our lives. That's all the time that I have for today. God bless you. God loves you, and I love you too. Have a great day.